Ohio Mina-san. Today I'm just going to go through a little Nautilus guide, show you guys some examples of his abilities, and show some item builds, runes and masteries. Enjoy! Now the first bit we're going to look at is his passive. His passive is essential and it really flows with all his abilities. Now his basic attack deals an extra 2 plus 6 times level, so that means if you're level 1 it does 6 damage, level 2 12 damage, etc, etc. And it immobilises the target for 0.5 seconds level 1, 0.75 seconds level 6 and 1 second level 11. Now this effect cannot trigger on the same target more than once every 12 seconds. Ability we're going to look at is his Q. Nautilus hurls out his anchor, and if it hits the target it drags the target towards Nautilus and Nautilus towards the target. It can also hit terrain, which we'll go into a bit later on. So this is his main ganking tool, pre-6 especially. You really need to hit this. If you miss this, it's got a huge cooldown, so there's no way you're going to be able to use it in the same gank. You would have to go burn some time and come back. But it's such a huge ability. It doesn't do that great magic damage, but it's the fact that it pulls you towards the target and the target towards you, and just a depositioner. Those are amazing. It functions a lot to like Blitzcrank's Q, but instead of going over terrain, it goes into terrain. So as you'll see, it's really good for crossing the map and just getting to places quicker. It's got a very high range of 950, so you can do it from pretty far away. Next up is his W. This gives Nautilus a shield and it makes it deal damage over time to all enemies around him, and it makes his auto attacks hit in a cone in front of him. This is what really helps speed up Nautilus's clear time, but due to the fact it's got such a long cooldown is why it requires such a babysit at the start, because his first clear is super slow. When you're doing the wolf camp before the blue, you want to pop it at something like 135 because it lasts 10 seconds and it's not going to be up for this entire 10 seconds, so it's going to drop around like 143 or something because of the damage that you take from the wolves. And you just want to do it early because it's such a long cooldown and you want it to be up as fast as you can for doing the blue buff. When you start a gank as well, you also want to pop this to deal as much damage as you can. So you use your Q, then you read, and then you pop this. Next ability I'm going to look at is his E. Nautilus slams the ground, causing free waves to expand out from him. The range actually goes up to 600, which is a decent range. Yeah, it's decent mana cost, just really used for the slow. The damage is quite insignificant. It's more used, you know, when it just really flows with all his other abilities. If you don't have a red buff, this is what you're going to use for your slow. It's just another form of CC. This guy's got ridiculous amounts of CC, by the way, if you didn't know. Next ability I'm going to look at is his last one. This is his R. It fires a shockwave under the ground that chases towards the target. It's got an 80-50 range, which is pretty good. If it hits enemy players while it's travelling towards its target, it also knocks them up, so it's really huge. And if you can, you want to hit it on as much people as you can. This doesn't stop chasing the person that's targeted, so they can flash, they can sprint, they can ghost. There's no way that they can get away from it. It'll continue to follow them until it hits, and the longer it chases them, the more speed it picks up. There's absolutely no way of outrunning this. And if you just run it through your enemy team while it's on you, you know, your entire team's just going to be CC'd for like 1 second or 1.5 or 2 seconds, depending on which level it's at. If you've seen my other video, my ganking video, you've probably seen this clip, but I just thought I'd put it in anyway because it's a good clip. So I'm going down, I've done red and blue, going down to this next lane to gank. Just scaled up Q. I know Blitzcrank has no flash, so hit him, proc the passive. He's got a red buff, so I don't need to Riptide yet. Pull him back in, Riptide for the damage, and he's 100% dead. We go and try and chase down the Ezreal, but sadly we don't get him because of he flashes out. So in this next clip I'm going to gank my favourite lane, top lane. Level 3, I've got double buff. This just really shows the potency of how strong Nautilus ganks early is. So I hit him, my passive bugs or something, but I get the red buff on him, still doing damage. I got the Q off, snacking flashes for the kill, and we get first blood on top lane. Easy. This next clip was just after that top lane kill. Run down mid lane. Ahri ventures too close to the brush. I get it with my Q. She flashes, the passive procs on her, and she dies really easy. It's really good if you can hit your Q. It's much like Maokai, but Nautilus's power is really focused late game, whereas Maokai's is really focused early game. They're two very similar junglers, but you know, Nautilus is better for the entire, you know, all out kill this guy. In this clip, I'm just going towards the top lane. Graves does actually die here, but I'm just gonna show you the rotation on how to get his abilities down and done right. So I'm running up to him, I'm spamming my R, thinking I could save Graves, but Graves does die. The R goes off, a Q, he bounces off of me, then a Riptide to get the 3 procs, and then I hit him to proc the passive. I did the Riptide first because the closer he is it does more damage, and I didn't need to use my passive because he was still stunned from the Q. So for runes I take attack speed reds. I take them because it helps me clear the jungle and it does more damage with W up. The armor should be self-explanatory on the yellows to take less damage from jungle minions and the enemy ADs. I take magic resist per level blues because I think he's quite tanky with his W when he's going for ganks anyway, that you shouldn't have much trouble early game, but it's late game when the AP has a good amount of AP that they could chunk you down pretty hard. And the movement speed quints because it's really important to stick to your targets and to get there quicker. I also take the movement speed and masteries to help get in range for ultimates and things like that. And as for masteries, I go 0 to 119. And the defensive tree, I take all the movement speed increasements, the less damage from jungle minions and AD, more health, and cooldown reduction. And in the utility tree, I take the neutral buff duration and movement speed, because as I said, it's really important for the movement speed, as Nautilus is a pretty slow champion, but they make that up by giving him his Q to help go towards the terrain, but it's still really important to get the movement speed. And as for the ability sequence, I start W first, and then I would normally take E second if I'm not going for a level 2 gank, and then if I've taken E second I'm normally just going to clear red, so I would take W again, and then once I'm level 4 past the 3rd Wraith Camp I believe, I would then take Q, and then that's when I would normally look for a gank. That's when you've got all your abilities and you do most damage. But after that, prioritise your R, max W first, max E second, and then finally max Q. This item build here is like the most normal kind of thing I guess, and it defends against everything. First you start off with the boots 3 pots. Normally I always go this build. You could also start regrowth, plus 1 pot if you're going for a fast Philo Stone to get that gold per 5 ticking. Then I would go boots of mobility, Philo Stone, Heart of Gold, and now I let them gather as much gold as they possibly can while I get Aegis, and then after that it really depends on how the game's progressing. If there's a lot of AD, I could either finish my Randuins or get Frozen Heart, or if it's just a bit of mixture I could just finish my Shurela's Reverie, or if there's heavy AP I could take the Force of Nature or Banshees. It's really up to the player and depending on how the game goes. Right guys, that just about wraps it up. If this helped you, if you could do ever so kind as to press the little like button there, it helps me. If you feel like it, you can go ahead and subscribe. I'll be doing more guides and more League of Legends goodies, so stay tuned and thanks for watching. Bye bye.